Hey everyone, this is Natalie Santa Rosa here, and today I'm going to be talking about something that I know plagues a lot of nutrition experts when you're trying to figure out, hey, I want to start my business, but what do I do? Okay? And a question I get a lot is actually, what do I charge? How do I determine what I should charge? And kind of what model should I use? And so there's a lot of these ambiguous kind of questions, and sometimes you're just going and looking to see what your friend Sally is doing, or, oh, I wonder what Louisa is doing because I heard she's running a nutrition business, so maybe let me just go check on her and, just do whatever she's doing because that's the easiest option to do. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 3 mistakes I see, and then I'm going to give you a hint and tip on how to actually determine what you should charge. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So mistake number 1 I see is that a lot of people just go check out what their friends are doing. And this is a huge mistake. In fact, I would label this, pretty much like the number 1 mistake you can make in business. And the reason why I say that is because you have no clue if what they're doing works. All right, so let me expound upon this for you. You know how it can be aggravating when people just take advice from their friend who doesn't have any experience or expertise in what they do, and they just blindly follow nutrition advice from some random person that tried to diet once? And it's kind of a frustrating thing because it's like, this is, they don't know what they're doing and they're just blindly following what other people are doing. When you do this, you are doing that. You're literally doing what you don't like for people to do. And the reason why I say this is because this is essentially like someone's pulling, on a bandwagon, right? And they're like, I'm just going to head off in this direction. What starts happening is people are like, oh, that person seems confident in what they're doing, so I'm just going to do what they're doing. And then other people say, oh, the other people are doing that. So people just assume that because a bunch of people are doing something, that's the right thing to do. No, most times it's not the right thing to do. Okay, so you really want to make sure whenever you make decisions in your business that you actually think them through. Use, reason, and I'm not calling you illogical, all right, or anything like that. Don't get me wrong here. Okay, it's easy when you feel overwhelmed to just jump on the bandwagon, right? But that's not what you want to do. And so instead, I would encourage you to really ask those people, what they make per month, okay, instead of just doing what they're doing. Because I've had some people tell me later on that they asked that friend when they were just following whatever that friend was doing. And they'll ask them, hey, so how much do you make per month? And the person will be like, I'm really struggling to get clients. No, so let's not follow people blindly. Really make sure that what they're doing makes sense. So you don't want to just like, oh, let me look at all the different dietitians or nutritionists or whatever in my area and do an average of what they charge and then just charge that. How do they come up with this number? Is that actually a good number? Is that what you're worth? Don't do that, okay? So don't make this mistake. Don't just jump on a bandwagon for the sake of jumping on a bandwagon. Actually think it through. Think it through. Does this make sense? Or is everybody just doing it right now because it's a fad? Like there's fad diets, there's fad business stuff out there too. So be wary of this and actually really process and think about this. And instead of just, going with the crowd, think for yourself. Think outside of the box, okay? So the second big mistake that I see a lot is people think to themselves, oh, you know what I think would be enticing so that I get clients to actually build a relationship with me and come multiple times? I'm going to offer packages, okay? This goes along with good thought, right? Because people are thinking, I don't want to, be strapped to my hourly amount. I don't want to get paid for my time. Instead, I want to get paid for my expertise and the value I provide, which is on a good train of thought, okay? These people are like halfway there. Okay, they just stopped here and they're just kind of stuck right here when the arrow, and they need to be like here. All right. What happens here a lot of times is essentially all you're doing when you develop a package oftentimes is it's essentially just like a group of hours. So you're like, oh, you get one initial session and then 3 follow-ups. And so because you're purchasing 4, right? Suddenly I'm going to discount my price. Okay, because you're purchasing 4, I can't talk and write at the same time. Because you're purchasing 4, now it costs less. And we think, oh, that's going to make the customer buy because, oh, that's really, it's a discount and people love discounts, right? That's not the most motivating factor, all right, when it comes to actually getting people to buy, okay, or make a commitment to working with you long term. So the big mistake with this is that, this is like saying if you're employed by somebody and they told you, oh, after you work over 40 hours this week, you suddenly get paid only half of what your hourly rate is. And if someone told you that, you'd be like, what the hell? This is not right. Aren't I supposed to get paid time and a half, right? Like most people when they work over their 40-hour work week, they get paid additional, okay? But you're doing the opposite. You're literally saying, oh, because I'm going to be working with you more, it's not going to cost as much, okay? So one, you're literally harming yourself, okay? You're making things harder on yourself. If you're trying to escape getting paid for your time, you literally just made it worse, okay? Next thing is that from a psychology point of view, this is not really that motivating, okay? There's other things that you can do to motivate your buyer to really want to work with you long term rather than just discounting your services, okay? So overall, another thing I don't like about packages is essentially it's just a group of hours. There's no added real value. And from a psychological point of view, this is not very motivating, all right? I also know this because I've been a buyer, okay? I buy lots of stuff, okay? That sounds like I have like a shopping addiction. I don't, okay? But essentially what I'm getting at here is I'm often on the other end of this call that you have with people, okay? I recently was because I was looking for someone for myself here recently. And, when I was described, oh, this is going to be a group of hours and you get a discount. So unattractive, okay? I don't want to pay for hours. I want to pay for a desired result, okay? I want you to help me solve a problem. And when you change what I'm actually interested in, which is a solution, that's my absolute top priority here, and you tell me I'm just getting a group of hours, that's not that attractive, okay, from a psychological standpoint, all right? So what you want to think about is, let's stop selling groups of hours and discounting them, which is even worse, and instead start selling solutions. And it's really how you phrase what you offer, and it's knowing your niche that's going to allow you to do this effectively and allow you to really charge what you're worth and get people to pay for it easily. The third thing that I see that's a huge issue is that most people, especially when they're working in a traditional sense, right? Because this is the traditional way of running a practice or running a nutrition business is let's do hourly sessions, let's charge per hour. I really think this model comes from being an employee and actually being like, oh, I always got paid per hour when I was an employee, so that means that I should automatically charge hourly, right? No. Okay, this does not make sense. All right, so a lot of people are going to be like, "What, Natalie?" Okay, but this is not coming from a place. You have to realize this is not coming from a place of what is best for the client. All right? Because I'll tell you why. You know how annoying it is when people come to see you once and then they don't come to see you multiple times? yeah, it's frustrating. But the thing is it's kind of your fault, okay? It's like if I offered, oh, you can work with me for an hour and I'll solve all your business problems. If I offered hourly sessions, that would mean that I could somehow make a huge difference in an hour and make a transformation for that person in an hour. That is so wrong. What on earth would I talk about, right? You know that you can't just in one session help someone make a transformation. So why are you selling that? Don't, because one session with you is not going to be enough, right? It's not going to help the person make the kind of transformation they're looking for. When you sell that, you signal to the buyer that one session is enough. That's a problem, okay? So really, don't do this because they just don't make sense, okay? They don't have what is best in mind for the customer, all right? The other reason for this is a lot of people, when they come up with their hourly rate, is they total up their expenses. What the heck does your expenses have to do with the client, okay? I mean, I get it. I did this too. I remember when I first started, I'd be like, how many pens per month am I going to be buying? Oh, I'm probably going to have to get some printer paper too. And then if I think about my Wi-Fi bill, what I've got to spend on my softwares, and then I total that up, and then let me think about what kind of profit I want to make. No, this doesn't have your client in mind. You should always be client-centered when you make business decisions, okay? So don't do this because the total of your expenses has nothing to do with what you should charge, all right? The reason why I say that is because that is about you, all right? And you should be able to build your business to be enough so that your expenses, you should be able to minimize those and raise the amount of income you're making so that doesn't come into a consequence or anything like that for you, okay? The thing is we've got to do what is best for the customer, and we know that selling a one-off session won't help that person that much. So don't sell it, okay? Don't do this. Don't determine to charge hourly, okay? So with that said, now let's go ahead and dive into what you should actually be doing. So when you're coming up with what you want to charge, the top thing to think about is, what problem am I solving? Okay, what's my problem? What am I solving for my ideal client? All right. If you don't know the answer to this question and you're confused what I'm talking about here, what I want you to do is go ahead and check the link in the description below, and I have a video down there about first steps in starting your online business, and I talk about what you should be actually offering to your potential client, okay? In that, you do a lot of research, and I tell you how to do that research and how to determine what this is, okay? So first step is think about, what's my problem? What's the problem I'm solving, okay? And then you have to think about, okay, so for a person to be able to make a transformation, they make a transformation and they get to where they want to be, right? They make that transformation by what you offer, which can't be singular sessions, okay? In that transformation, what is the value for that person? And that's why it's always determined upon, first of all, what the problem is, and then what type of transformation that you help people make, okay? And this is what it is. It's what is the value of the transformation that you're offering. And that's what you should charge. I know that sounds kind of ambiguous, right? But that's what you have to think about. Like, let's say someone is, desperately trying to lose weight, and they've tried their hardest for years to lose weight, and they can't figure out how to lose weight in a sustainable manner and keep it off. Okay, they've been on one of those roller coaster weight rides, right? What is that worth to someone to finally no longer have to be trapped by this problem? Okay? And that's what you want to really think about, all right? Whether it has to do with helping women with their hormones, whether it has to do with helping entrepreneurs optimize their diet, whether it has to do with, helping people with their gut health and deal with IBS, whatever the problem is you're solving. And when you help them make that transformation, what is the value in that? And that's what you should charge. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful for you. And I hope it brought some much needed clarity with all the kind of confusion that's out there on what to charge. And yeah, let me know below what you decide to charge and if you want some feedback on that. All right, have a great rest of your day.